depends on what type of U.S. administration you're talking about. Even before the Khashoggi affair, there was some discontent among, I wouldn't call it a large number, but at least a few significant legislators, both in the House and in the Senate, who are raising questions about that deadly Saudi-led intervention. And what the Khashoggi affair has done is, at least within Congress, it's sort of been a catalyst for those legislators who had concerns to be more vocal. And of course, that is reinforced by the fact that Khashoggi was a columnist for the Washington Post. He was a permanent resident with a home in Washington, so he was very well connected. If you go, I think, to the U.S. State Department, and I speak as someone who's just been chatting with officials from there, they are concerned about what has occurred. They certainly don't want to see it as a breaking point for the U.S.-Saudi relationship, but they're looking at what should be done next. But I think if you go to the White House, and as evidenced by Donald Trump's statements, he's just hoping the whole affair goes away very quickly and it's, quote, business as usual. And I mean literally business as usual, in the sense that his priority is that $110 billion arms sale that was announced last year at the time of his visit to Riyadh. We have to wait and see. Let's just say that Donald Trump has been far from transparent in terms of the details of his business practices, whether it's releasing his tax returns or actually being forthcoming about the Trump Organization's current or planned projects. You'll notice in that tweet he also denied that he had any financial interest with Russia. That is an untruth, at least to the extent that Trump eagerly pursued business interest in Russia in the years before he became president. For example, a Trump Tower project in Moscow. So I think that was more of a defensive tweet to say, oh, of course this is fake news, that I would have any interest beyond being president in what happens here. I think all you have to say is that whatever the position is on the business side, that all it took was a 20-minute phone call from King Salman yesterday to convince Trump that the Saudis' side of the story, which is that this is a rogue operator, this is an out-of-control official, that the king and his son, the crown prince, didn't know anything about this, that Trump was absolutely, yeah, that's exactly what I thought happened. I think there'll be a lot of speculation and a lot of it informed that will say, yes, that something has to change when you put the Khashoggi affair as a catalyst within the issue of what has occurred not only in Yemen, but across the Middle East. For example, the Saudi intervention in Bahrain before this. But I think that my own assessment is that for the United States at least, or at least for the administration, I think very little will change. I think there will be some public, limited, if you might want to call it, regrets that, quote, this out-of-control official may have exceeded his authority. I think there will be no regrets from Saudi Arabia about what it's doing in Yemen, certainly not from Riyadh or even from its ally, the UAE, who have been equally as involved in the Yemen affair. And I hate to be very blunt, but had Jamal Khashoggi not disappeared, I doubt very few Americans would have paid attention to Yemen. Even though we're talking about more than one person who's being affected there, we're talking about millions. The bottom line is that even before Donald Trump, Saudi Arabia was a big customer of the United States. It has been seen as a strategic partner of the United States in that region. While that has been a far from smooth relationship, I think the Trump administration is doubling down on that strategic relationship because, of course, Saudi Arabia is the chief rival of Iran. So unless this can be connected through clear intelligence to the Crown Prince or his father directly ordering the killing of Jamal Khashoggi, I don't really see any significant effects on the U.S.-Saudi relationship. Well, I think, first of all, as much as we pay attention to the U.S.-Saudi relationship, I think it's equally important and perhaps more important, to realize that there are other countries who are going to be reevaluating or maneuvering in their relationship with the Saudis. I think certain Gulf states, of course, will be maneuvering because of the Saudi split with Qatar and the split within the GCC. I think Turkey, in particular, which has backed Qatar in that feud with Saudi Arabia, will be looking to get leverage over Riyadh because of this. So rather than seeing this first and foremost in terms of the Turkish-American relationship, I think you're looking at the Turks trying to maneuver Washington so that they can get a bit more space in terms of where they are positioned in the region versus the Saudis. Therefore, I think it's far from coincidental that as the Turks were revealing information about the fate of Jamal Khashoggi, they were releasing the detained pastor, Andrew Bluntman, because they see that as getting favorable points with Trump, and favorable points with Trump means they get more room to maneuver in what is far more complex a relationship than simply Washington and Riyadh. Mm-hmm.
Great. Thank you so much for talking to us. That was very insightful, and I look forward to using that. Thank you very much.